Welcome to the Behavior Code. I'm Maria.
And I'm Gabriel, and today we're talking about something I think almost everyone has felt, that sinking feeling that you're the one who always cares more.
Oof, yes. Let's paint a picture. You reply fast. You show up. You care so deeply. You remember the little things they say. You make the plans. You put in the effort. It's a universal feeling, but it feels so deeply personal and isolating when you're in it. You start to think, is something wrong with me? Am I just unlovable? And it can really do a number on your self-esteem.
You're all in. And it's a heavy weight to carry, that feeling that your love is a burden or that you have to constantly audition for a role in someone's life that should be freely given. We're here to tell you that it's not a personal failing. It's a pattern, and it's one you can understand and change.
Completely. But somehow it's never equal. There's this imbalance. You feel it in your gut. You're waiting for a text back while they're, living their life. And it feels like you're just waiting.
Right. It's that feeling of looking at your phone and seeing a one-sided conversation. Your big blue or green text bubbles stacked on top of each other, and then a tiny little gray one from them. And it's not just romantic relationships. This can happen with friends, with family. You're the one who always calls, the one who remembers birthdays, the one who drives the extra mile. And the silence on their end can be deafening.
And it's the little things that twist the knife. You write this thoughtful, multi-sentence message and you get back K or LOL. It feels like you brought a 3-course meal to a potluck and they showed up with a single stale cracker. Exactly. And your heart just sinks. It's like, why am I always the one pushing the conversation forward? Why am I the one keeping this connection alive?
And that's the core question we're diving into today. Is it them? Is it you? Why does this pattern happen? And most importantly, how do you break it? Because living like that, it's exhausting. I had a friendship like that once. I realized I was the only one ever reaching out. So as an experiment, I just stopped. And you know what happened? Silent. We haven't spoken in 3 years. And as much as that hurt, it was also freeing. It confirmed the imbalance was real and not just in my head. It's also the mental load, isn't it? You're not just keeping the conversation alive, you're managing the entire relationship. You're the one remembering their mom's birthday or that they have a big meeting on Tuesday. You're holding all the emotional data.
It is. So if you've ever felt like you're giving 110% and getting back maybe 50, this episode is for you. We're going to get into the psychology of it all.
Yeah, let's talk about that pain point a little more. It's not just texting, is it? It's everything. It's being the one to always initiate plans. Hey, are we doing anything this weekend?
And if you didn't ask, you have this gnawing feeling that you just wouldn't see them. Like the whole relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romance, would just dissolve if you stopped putting in the work.
That's it. It's the overgiving. You're the one who's always there for them when they have a bad day. They're your emergency contact, their therapist, their cheerleader.
Right. But when you have a bad day, crickets. Or oh wow, that sucks. And then they change the subject.
Exactly. The emotional imbalance. It's so draining because you're pouring from your cup into theirs, but no one's refilling your cup. And eventually, you start to feel resentful, and then you feel guilty for feeling resentful.
Oh, the guilt cycle. Yes. You think, am I being too needy? Am I asking for too much? You start to question your own perception of reality.
You do. You feel taken for granted, like your effort is just expected. It's not appreciated, it's just the baseline. And the moment you pull back a little, suddenly you're the bad guy.
That's the crazy making part. You do 99 things, and the one time you don't, the one text you don't send first, that's the one they notice. It's a lose-lose situation.
So, okay, we've established the feeling. It's real, it's painful, and it's common. So let's get into the why. Why do we fall into this trap? I think the first place to look psychologically is attachment styles. And let's talk about the social media dimension of this. It's a special kind of modern torture, isn't it? You send the heartfelt message, you pour your feelings out, and then you wait. And while you're waiting, You see they're active online, liking posts, walking stories, but they can't take 10 seconds to reply to you.
Yes, this is so huge. For anyone who isn't familiar, attachment theory basically says that our early relationships with caregivers shape how we behave in relationships as adults. And for a lot of people who care too much, they often lean towards an anxious attachment style.
And they can also tolerate distance. If their partner is busy, they don't immediately interpret it as a sign of rejection. They trust the bond is strong enough to withstand temporary separation. That's the goal, really, to move towards a more secure way of relating.
That specific pain, seeing the green active now dot next to their name, it feels like a direct and personal rejection. It's not that they can't reply, it's that they are actively choosing not to. It makes you feel so small.
Right. Anxious attachment. In simple terms, it's a deep seated fear of abandonment or rejection. If your caregiver was inconsistent, sometimes warm and available, sometimes distant, you learn that you have to work really, really hard to get and keep their attention and affection.
Which isn't to say securely attached people don't have bad days or feel insecure sometimes. Of course they do. But their baseline is one of trust, not fear. Their internal narrative isn't, I have to earn this connection, it's, I am worthy of this connection.
You learn that connection is conditional. So, fast forward to adulthood, you meet someone, and that old programming kicks in. Your brain basically goes, okay, connection is unstable. I have to do more, be more, give more to make sure this person doesn't leave me. And that's where the overinvestment comes from. It's not a conscious choice, it's an automated subconscious drive to secure the bond.
It manifests as a hypervigilance to the other person's moods. You're constantly scanning them for signs of withdrawal. Did their tone of voice change? Did that text message seem short?
The dreaded one word answer, or the period at the end of a sentence that isn't normally there.
The period, yes, it's terrifying for an anxiously attached person. Your brain goes into overdrive trying to figure out what you did wrong. So what do? You try to fix it. You send another message, you offer to help them with something, you ramp up the effort to try and pull them back in.
You overfunction. And what's interesting, or tragic really, is that this behavior often attracts people with an avoidant attachment style. People who feel smothered by too much closeness.
I've been there. It's like a physical sensation, isn't it? A tightness in your chest. Your thoughts just start racing. What did I do? How can I fix this? It's a full-on panic response. Your nervous system is basically screaming, danger, connection is threatened. I've been there. It's like a physical sensation, isn't it? A tightness in your chest. Your thoughts just start racing. What did I do? How can I fix this? It's a full-on panic response. Your nervous system is basically screaming, danger, connection is threatened. I've been there. It's the classic anxious avoidant trap. One person pushes for more connection out of fear, the other pulls away for more space out of fear. And it just reinforces the anxious person's belief that they're not good enough and have to try even harder.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's crucial to understand that this isn't a character flaw. It's a learned survival mechanism. Your brain is just trying to protect you from being abandoned, using a strategy that worked or sort of worked in the past.
And it's worth mentioning that the avoidant person isn't usually being malicious. Their background taught them that intimacy is suffocating or dangerous. When they feel someone getting too close, their own alarm bells go off, and their strategy is to create distance to feel safe again.
And it's a very painful dynamic. The anxious person feels perpetually unseen and unloved, while the avoidant person feels constantly pressured and misunderstood. Both feel like they can't get their needs met.
Right, but that strategy is now causing the very thing you're afraid of. It's pushing people away.
Exactly. So you have two people whose survival strategies are in direct opposition. It's like one person is trying to solve their anxiety by holding on tighter, and the other is trying to solve theirs by letting go. It's a recipe for disaster. And it's not just attachment styles, right? There's a second layer to this, which I think is just as important. It's when you unconsciously tie your value, your entire sense of self-worth, to being needed.
And it's about shifting from seeking external validation to cultivating internal validation. Your worth isn't in their reply, it's in who you are. When you truly get that, the whole dynamic changes because you're no longer operating from a place of deficit, trying to earn your place. You're operating from a place of wholeness. It's about shifting from seeking external validation to cultivating internal validation. Your worth isn't in their reply, it's in who you are. When you truly get that, the whole dynamic changes because you're no longer operating from a place of deficit, trying to earn your place. You're operating from a place of wholeness. And recognizing your own attachment style is the first step. You can't change a pattern you're not aware of. Just having the language for it, being able to say, oh, this feeling in my chest is my anxious attachment activating, can be incredibly powerful. It depersonalizes the shame. Oh, this is a big one. It's when caring stops being something you do and starts being who you are. It becomes your identity. I'm the helpful one. I'm the good listener. I'm the one who always shows up.
Totally. Your worth isn't inherent. In your mind, it's earned, it's transactional. You believe people will only value you, only love you because of what you can do for them. So you're constantly performing acts of service to justify your place in their life.
It's like if you're not actively helping or giving, you fear you'll become invisible, that you have nothing else to offer, which is, a heartbreaking way to see yourself.
It is. And the danger is this mindset makes you a magnet for people who are, well, takers. People who are perfectly happy to let you do all the work, carry all the emotional weight, because your need to be needed fits perfectly with their desire to be catered to.
So true. You create your own dysfunctional ecosystem. You think you're being kind and generous, but what you're actually doing is enabling an unequal dynamic from the very beginning. You teach people how to treat you.
And you get a little validation hit from being the savior or the helper. It feels good for a moment to be needed. It soothes that anxiety of, do they like me? Am I valuable? The answer is yes, because they're relying on you, but it's a very fragile kind of worth.
So fragile, because the moment they don't need you for something, that anxiety comes rushing back. You have to find a new way to be indispensable. It's a hamster wheel of overgiving.
And you have to ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped? If you just existed? If you stopped solving their problems, or planning the dates, or sending the check-in texts, would they still be there? The fear for many people is that the answer is no. And this often has roots in our childhood. If you were praised for being the good, helpful, or mature child, you learn from a very young age that your value comes from suppressing your own needs to take care of others. You become a little adult, and you carry that role into your adult relationships.
And it's a vicious cycle. The more you hide your needs to be the cool, low maintenance person, the more you attract people who can't or won't meet them. You end up feeling completely alone inside a relationship because nobody really knows you. They only know the helpful, easygoing version of you that you're performing. And that fear is what keeps the cycle going, which leads us, I think, to the third psychological reason, which is kind of a tough pill to swallow. It's that we ignore red flags. That's such a key point because what you're really doing is hiding. You're hiding your own messy, human, vulnerable self behind a wall of competence and helpfulness. You're afraid that if people saw the real you with your own needs and your own flaws, they wouldn't stick around. So you make yourself useful as a kind of insurance policy against abandonment.
That's such a key point, because what you're really doing is hiding. You're hiding your own messy, human, vulnerable self behind a wall of competence and helpfulness. You're afraid that if people saw the real you with your own needs and your own flaws, they wouldn't stick around. So you make yourself useful as a kind of insurance policy against abandonment.
Yes, this is a huge one because often the signs of an imbalance are there from the very beginning. We just choose not to see them. We do. Think about it. On the first few dates, are they asking you questions about yourself or are they just talking about themselves the whole time? There's a specific type of cognitive dissonance there, isn't there? You see the flag, you register it on some level, but your desire for the relationship to work is so strong that you immediately create a narrative to explain it away. You become an expert defense attorney for their bad behavior.
That's a great one. Or do they talk about their ex a lot? Do they say things like, I'm not really looking for anything serious right now? But you hear, I'm sure I can change their mind.
The classic hero complex. I'll be the one to show them what real love is. We see their lack of effort not as a red flag, but as a challenge, a project.
And the reason we ignore these flags is because we're so focused on the potential of the person, not the reality. We've built up this idea in our heads of what the relationship could be. And it's so beautiful that we don't want to let the messy facts get in the way.
It's an emotional investment in a fantasy. You want it to work so badly that you make excuses for them. Oh, they're just really busy with work. They're not a big texter. They've been hurt before. They just need time to open up.
All of those might even be true, but they're irrelevant. The bottom line is, their behavior is showing you that you are not a priority. And that is data. But we ignore the data because we're high on the hope.
I call it potential goggles. You're not seeing the person in front of you, you're seeing the person you hope they will become, with enough of your love and effort, of course.
And that's a recipe for burnout and heartbreak, because you can't love someone into being the person you need them to be. They have to show up as that person, right now.
That's the key. So we've got the internal stuff, attachment styles, tying worth to being needed, ignoring red flags, but there's also an external factor here. There are social dynamics at play.
Right. Let's talk about the power imbalance. There's a concept in sociology called the principle of least interest.
Okay, break that down for us.
Basically states that in any relationship, the person who has the least interest in continuing the relationship holds the most power.
Wow, say that again?
The one who cares less, or even just appears to care less, controls the relationship. They set the terms. They dictate the pace.
Because they're less afraid to lose it. So they're not afraid to take hours to text back, or cancel plans last minute, or be vague about the future. They know, consciously or not, that the other person will likely just accept it.
Right. The person who cares more is always in a reactive position. They're waiting for the text, waiting for the invitation, waiting for a sign of commitment. They've given their power away.
And this creates a really unhealthy dynamic. The overgiver keeps giving more and more, hoping to win the other person's affection and level the playing field. But all it does is solidify the power imbalance. The other person just gets more comfortable.
They think, wow, I can put in minimal effort and get maximum benefits. This is great. Meanwhile, you're running yourself into the ground, feeling more and more anxious and resentful.
It's a feedback loop from hell. Your anxiety makes you overfunction. Your overfunctioning allows them to underfunction. Their underfunctioning makes you more anxious, and on it goes.
And that's how you end up months or years into a situation that's deeply unsatisfying, wondering how you got there. It happened incrementally, by accepting a power dynamic that was unbalanced from the start.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty bleak picture. We understand the psychology, we understand the dynamics. It sounds kind of hopeless, but it's not. This is the point where we pivot. This is where we talk about the mindset shift required to break this cycle. And it's so insidious because the person with more power often doesn't even realize they have it. They're just operating at their normal level of interest, while you are contorting yourself into a pretzel to keep them, making it impossible for a genuine, balanced connection to ever take root.
Yes, this is the most important part. The first fundamental shift is this. You have to stop overgiving, period.
Which sounds simple, but it feels terrifying. It feels like you're letting go of the controls and you're sure the whole thing is going to crash.
It does, but here's the truth. If a relationship can only survive on the fumes of your constant effort, it's not a real relationship. It's a life support system, and you're the machine. You have to be willing to unplug it to see if it can breathe on its own.
Wow, that's a powerful way to put it. So it's about letting people meet you halfway. It's about creating a space and seeing if they step into it.
Precisely. The second part of the mindset shift is to observe actions, not words. This is critical. People can say all the right things. I miss you. I really care about you. You mean so much to me.
And those words are like a drug to someone who's feeling insecure. It gives you just enough hope to keep going.
They are, but they mean nothing without corresponding action. Do they miss you enough to make a plan to see you? Do they care about you enough to ask about your day and actually listen to the answer?
Actions are data. Words can be noise. You have to become a scientist of your relationships. Observe the behavior. What does the data tell you? Does their effort match their words?
And this requires you to channel all that amazing, caring energy you've been pouring into other people and pour it back into yourself. Get busy with your own life, nurture your own friendships, hobbies, goals.
So that your self worth isn't dependent on their text messages. You're building a foundation of value that is internal, that no one can take away from you. You're not waiting by the phone because you're, you know, at the gym or out with friends or killing it at work.
Yes, you become the main character of your own life again, not a supporting character in theirs. That's the core of the shift.
Okay, so let's get really practical. People are listening and they're like, I get it, but what do I actually do? What are some actionable steps? And what's amazing is that when you start doing that, your energy shifts. You're no longer emitting this frequency of desperation, you know? You're emitting a frequency of self-sufficiency, and that is incredibly attractive, not just to romantic partners, but to everyone. People are drawn to those who have their own source of light.
Number one, and this is going to feel weird at first, mirror their energy and response time. This is not about playing games, it's about recalibrating the dynamic.
So if they take 3 hours to reply, you don't reply in 3 seconds.
Exactly. Not as punishment, but as a way to protect your own peace and show that you have other things going on. If they send you a one-word answer, you don't send back a five-sentence paragraph. You match the effort.
Okay, second tip, set boundaries. This is about moving from being accommodating to being, well, a person with their own life. Instead of saying, I'm free whenever, you say, I'm available on Tuesday or Thursday night. Let me know if either of those work for you.
That's a huge one. It communicates that your time is valuable. A third tip is to stop initiating all the time. Just stop. It will be uncomfortable. You will feel anxiety. But you need to see what happens in that space. Do they step up or do they let it fade away?
And either outcome is valuable information. If they step up, great, you might be able to find a healthier balance. If they let it fade, that's painful, but it's also a gift. They've shown you the truth, and now you are free to find someone whose effort matches yours.
Absolutely. You have to be willing to lose something that isn't right for you in order to find what is.
So, to wrap all of this up, feeling like you're the one who always cares more is a deeply painful and exhausting experience. But it's not a life sentence, it's a pattern.
A pattern that comes from a very understandable place. A desire for connection, a fear of loss, a history of learning that your worth is tied to what you do for others. But you can unlearn it.
It starts by turning that powerful lens of care and attention back on yourself, by observing actions, not just words, by building a life that makes you feel full, with or without someone else's validation.
It's about recalibrating your own value. When you stop overgiving, you create space for someone who is willing and excited to meet you where you are. Someone who doesn't see your love as a convenience, but as a privilege.
Because the right people, the right friendships, the right relationships, they won't make you question your worth. They'll confirm it.
And that's what you deserve. Thanks for tuning in to The Behavior Code.
We'll see you next time.